Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This is an update from Ukraine, and it doesn't look good. The Russians launched their most massive drone attack on Ukraine since the beginning of the war in Ukraine. They launched 267 drones overnight, and they never launched this much. But it is like in track and field. The last part of the track you try to push finish in force. It seems like obviously that's going to look good in negotiations. So this is the first topic for this video. We're going to discuss, and I'm going to give you details on this massive drone attack. Then we're going to show you, I'm going to give you the exact number of the Russian drones launched in the past week and the number of the Russian bombs in a week, and that's massive. Again, I made a few videos pointing out that the Russians in the past week launched on average over 160 drones every day. And I will give you some numbers. Zelenskyy is trying to activate his tribe in order to get more money and support from the American people and whomever will pay out. We need it. We're the victims, you know that. And in order to make us feel guilty of something, and squeeze some of your empathy, not mine, and maybe not yours as well. We find out that the Russian forces advance in Kurakhove and Velyka Novosilka. I'm going to show you maps in Donbas, and progress in Kursk. They're getting the NATO troops out. Why NATO? Well, it's by de facto, not by de jure. Then we're going to find out the fighting ongoing on Pokrovsk front as Russian forces attempting to advance. I think they are advancing. And we're going to find out as well that the Brits solved poverty in their country, solved everything. They have a lot of money. They drive not Bentleys anymore, not Land Rovers or Range Rovers anymore. What else? They used to have cars, no Jaguar anymore. Probably all these things are owned right now by the Indians and the Chinese. Good job, idiots. So anyway, the Brits are sanctioning Russia again because they have everything. It's like taking from your children, resources, and give it to the neighbor's kids, the resources from your child. So your child is gonna be hungry, but hey, his child might not be hungry. Why? The people who produce are gonna get big cats, bigger than they are. Now, I have another, and the last topic is Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary. I agree with him on majority of his stands. He's Hungarian. I was Romanian born, so you understand what's going on here. Yeah, I'm on his payroll. He says something I said many times. Out of the scenarios of Ukraine, the most likely Ukraine will become a buffer state. I would say a non-state, because I don't think Ukraine will have ever, I mean not ever, I can't predict the future like that, but in the near future, which near is, I don't know, a few decades, Ukraine will not have its independent policy, foreign policy, domestic policy. It's not going to be independent and sovereign. It's going to be controlled by the Russians and probably by the Americans. All right, let's start with the first article. The drone attack, right? Ukrainska Pravda. Record drone attack. 267 drones launched by Russia overnight. The Ukrainians claimed they downed 138 and 119 go off radar. Next one, I'm going to show you details a little bit later. Ukrainian forces down 138 Russian drones. This is according to Ukrinform. Then we have these baboons from ABC News. Russia launched drones into Ukraine, setting a new record ahead of invasion's anniversary. So what do? When you are running track and there's the finish line, now let's go. That's what you do. You sprint as much. When you train, that's how you do. The last portion you try to finish in force. Then we find out, and that's I think the Russians are doing. If you can, if you can't, then you drop dead. Again, it's Agence France Presse of a record since the invasion. Now let me. I don't know if you're familiar with this book. If you ever read it, I'm gonna get it. It's all right here, and this book is called Gori no Sho. Gorinosho means the Book of the Five Rings, written by Yamamoto Musashi. I would say the most famous Japanese swordman. You know, he was a good Ronin and then samurai. And he wrote this little book, and that I got, and I got it from someone, and I translated in Romanian at one point. Here it is. I know. Let's put it this way. Boom, boom, boom. So in this book, Musashi says, 24th of November 1992, old writing. All right, so Musashi says in this book, he has many interesting books, because he thought of himself as a big strategist, as Sun Tzu, the Art of War. So he said, you can extrapolate from having your body as an army. You know, this is the right flank, this is the left flank, this is the generals, the command, and all that. And when you fight another army. So he said, take the method, because it's man against man. So he says, you can extrapolate. You can use it in big battles or individual battles. And he said, when you see that the enemy is faltering, or is starting to lose, and is trying to lose spirit. He was very into, if you lose the desire, and it's very important to fight the spirit, to fight, then you lost the battle. Then he said, you employ everything you got, all the energy, all the resources you got, and you focused it on that particular point where you see his faltering is done, and then you go through that, and that person is going to, say, with his pee wet underwear, yellow. Anyway, so the same I think the Russians are doing right now, ahead of the negotiations. They want to show that we are still in charge, we are having more, we just choose not to do it. Now I don't know if that's the fact or not, but the evidence shows that they increased the drones attack in the past week, and this is the record. So let's look over the details in the first article, and not only, but I picked the first one because they are very clear, and I'm going to show you maps. Record drone attack, 267. Here is the evidence, how many these guys claim they downed. And they also attacked Ukrainian regions with ballistic missiles, plural. It says they destroyed and 3 flew towards Russia. So basically, nothing hit. So what? That's 258? Something like that, isn't it? Yeah, 257, 3 flew, and 1 headed towards Belarus. So here we have, this is where the Russians launched this attack from. Oriol, Bryansk, Kursk, Shatalovo, Milerovo, Primorsko-Akhtarsk, and Shauda in occupied Crimea. So these are the locations where the Russians launched this attack. They started from here, which is the first one, was what? Shatalovo. Right. Shatalovo in Smolensk area, Bryansk, Oriol, Kursk. Then you go to Milerovo, right here. And then in Russia, then you go to Primorsko-Akhtarsk, is right here, across from the Sea of Azov, right there, Primorsko-Akhtarsk. And then you go to Cape Shauda, which is exactly where my strong hand is, and Crimean Peninsula, across from the Kursk bridge, the ones that these guys said they will destroy, but they didn't so far. I don't think they will ever. I predicted they will, but the war is not over yet. So they are the locations where the Russians launched their attack. The Russians also launched 3 Iskander M/K and 23 ballistic missiles from temporarily occupied Crimea. I showed you where Crimea is, right here. Not from the Black Sea, from Crimea. And they attacked this. Kharkiv, Poltava, Sumy, Kiev, Chernihiv, Cherkasy, Kirovohrad, Zhytomyr, Khmelnytsky, Rivne, Mykolaiv, Odessa, and Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. So these are all but Lutsk, Lvov, Ivano-Frankovsk, and this right here. So they did Khmelnytsky, Rivno, Zhytomyr, Kiev, Chernihiv, Cherkasy, Poltava, Dnipropetrovsk, Mykolaiv, Odessa, this area. Okay, so almost the entire Ukrainian still land. Let's go to the actually I'm not going to read all this. It's just I took them just to show you how these guys reported new record ahead of the invasion anniversary. All right, again, the new record. And Zelenskyy. Russia launched 167 attack drones in Ukraine last night, largest attack in entire war. And Russia has launched 1,150 UAVs, more than 1,400 guided bombs, and 35 missiles at Ukraine in just 1 week. And you have this one in this article from the New Voice of Ukraine. Zelenskyy calls for U.S. support. Now, this is where you and I are supposed to squeeze our empathy and take the food from our children and send it to the neighbors' children because they say so. And then they need to do the same thing with their children and send it to my children. Why not I take care of my children and you take care of your children? Personal responsibility, no? Anyway, so they try to muster and they will activate. This is meant for Zelenskyy to activate his group in propagandizing us and feel us guilty of this one too now. If you don't give it, poor Ukrainians will die. Who ordered the whole thing? You did. All right, so it's just a very horrible dropping responsibility that is not responsibility over innocent people like the Germans. The Germans are supposed to, the nation, the entire nation, including the Romanians living over there, or the Turks living over there, to feel guilty for something they personally have not been part of. You know what I'm talking about? If you don't, stick around. You're going to figure it out from moi. All right, so let's see what the Russians are doing in Kursk and Donbas, or Donetsk here. New Voice of Ukraine. Russian forces advance near Kurakhove and Velyka Novosilka in Donbas. All right, I want to see where that is. Novosilka, Pokrovsk. I know that is right here. Volinka, Novosilka is right here. But they already conquered that. So they're moving towards Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, and this is Zaporozhye Oblast right here. Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporozhye. So they're moving forward there, and here is Kurakhove right here. They're way past Kurakhove and they encircle this. Yesterday I covered this little success or occupation. The Russians conquered Ulakli, so there is all done. So they're going to go this way towards Pokrovsk, which is Pokrovsk is right here. It's going to be surrounded, no doubt about it. And then they say they did some advance in Kursk. Kursk is in Russia, where NATO invaded here successfully, and successfully are still there. So this is Kursk Oblast. This is the border with Ukraine. This is where the Russians are pushing them back. What did you expect? Unfortunately, people died. All right. So let's see. Progress in Kursk Oblast. Russian troops have recently made advances near Kurakhove and Velyka Novosilka in Donetsk Oblast, as well as in Russia's Kursk Oblast, according to a report from the US-based Institute for the Study of War. These guys are liars. So if they say that, that means it's even worse than that. Even worse. Next one. Ukrinform. Heavy fighting ongoing on Pokrovsk front as Russian forces attempting to advance. My gut feeling is they already advanced big time. And that is in Pokrovsk. I showed you by Kurakhove right here. This is Pokrovsk. The Russians call it Krasnoarmeysk. The Russians are trying to advance, and they will advance. They will get either like this, and then these guys are going to come. What's over here? Defense forces here. All right, let's see what these guys are saying. Intense battles. When I say intense battles, critical or dynamic, that means they're already done and they are hold on. Just don't tell them the truth yet. Wait about, 2 days. Are ongoing on Pokrovsk front, where the Russian forces are attempting to use their numerical advantage to advance. So on the Kharkiv sector, the forces attacked the Ukrainian fortification of Vovchansk, but failed to achieve success. I think that's already done over there. I think the Russians, it has to be, factual data. The Russians are advancing, my friend. Nothing happened much, but hey, they say right here, towards Kupiansk. Look how close the Russians are to Kupiansk right here. They are going to get into Kupiansk. This is Kharkov Oblast. They're going to go there. Look what's going on. This, I don't know, Volchansk right here, the Russians try to, right here, they're by it. Because why they started right here. To talk about it, Volchansk, but failed to achieve success. I think the Russians will slowly, if these guys don't get to a peace agreement, will just slowly eat out of Ukraine. But in the meantime, look who wants peace. The UK. Look at this guy. You can tell me that intelligence oozes out of his teeth. All right. UK to announce its largest sanctions package against Russia. Lammy. Lammy from lame. Because he's lame. He's lame. Oh. Nah. What's over there? Got two flags. Do you recognize the flags? All right. You see that one over there? I think that's Jamaica and this is Great Britain. I don't want this, fucker. I don't want this. When or if I'm going to be, let's say, if I would be an elected official, let's say in United States of America, or I will succeed in United States of America in a, I don't know, political position, I will never say I'm a Romanian American. I will never put the Romanian flag next to the American flag. All right? That's not what we are. We are Americans. Okay, you have your origin or whatever. You can be proud of it, and you should be proud of it. But then why did you leave? Oh, some problems? Okay, we're not going to go into that. But I will always refuse to talk about it. Like, here is a flag of Romania. And hey, remember when Tito Ortiz, that MMA fighter, UFC fighters, anyway, used to show up with two flags, the Mexican flag and with the American flag, jumping around and coming. No, boy, no. You drop one of those. You have to drop one of those. And he was, oh my God, look at me. You can do that, but I can criticize you or tell you to, by my liking and my values, I don't think that's right. So this guy shows it, and he is right here. What is the fuck is this? What is this? Anyway, this is lame. So he is very tough guy. Next one. Ukraine will be a buffer state, Orban. The Hungarian Prime Minister has said that instead of being admitted into NATO, Kiev will remain a partition between the bloc and Russia. Okay, but who's going to control it? I like Viktor Orban. He's a down-to-earth individual and courageous. Courageous. You need courage, my friends. That's not, I mean, it's not, how do you call it, by chance that the ancient Greek virtues, the 401 capital virtues or whatever you want to call them, the first one, the most important, was courage. Not wisdom, not temperance. No, it was courage. Why? Because without courage, you will not act. And that's when you really stand up for everything you got back. So if you don't have, let's say you like freedom of speech, but you have no courage to speak up, then you can love it how much you want. You can love, you have values. If you're afraid to uphold them in front of adversity, nobody's going to know. So courage, my friend. So here's a courageous guy. And yes, Ukraine could be a buffer zone, I think, controlled by the Russians mostly, and to a certain extent, the Americans. The Ukrainians will be living a life in between two powers. That's why Ukraina means at the edge, at the margin. So it's going to be at the margin of two empires. The Russian Empire, I'm just exaggerating, they're not. Russia is not an empire. The other guys are and want to be. I mean, look at their military, military deployments. 740 military bases around the globe. How many does Russia have outside of his country? 2? 3? So I don't call Russia an empire. Yes, it was an empire, but the other guys fit the definition pretty well. And with the vassals around and with occupation, but we're going to defend you. Please, no. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.